The Denver Nuggets, they lose to the Phoenix Suns. It's time for us to have some conversations. Jamal Murray's play has been up and down all season, and he did not look good yesterday. And do the Nuggets have good enough guard play at that spot to be able to compete? And really, the ultimate question that I have for Ryan and the rest of everyone else, are the Nuggets actually trying to win an NBA championship this season? It's time to talk about it here at Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Swipa, with his brother-in-arms, Ryan Blackburn, a.k.a. Ryan Chartburn, a.k.a. Michael Malone's favorite guy. Y'all, this is Locked On Nuggets, y'all, and man, we have quite the episode to get into today. But y'all, today's episode is sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase, y'all. And let's get straight into it. The Denver Nuggets, after having a blowout win versus the Phoenix Suns in Denver, they come out last night, lose 100-110. The offense was just disorganized. The defense was just disorganized. Christian Braun hasn't made a three since Ryan Blackburn was 27 years old. We are honestly in a place now where, man, it's just you never know what you're going to get. Life is like a box of chocolates, says Forrest Gump. Some of those chocolates, they're going to be 30, 15, and 18 nights, and you're going to be like, wow, best player in the world. Is the team back? Other nights, is that black licorice chocolate? What is this crap? That's kind of where we are right now, where you just don't quite know where the floor is for this team. And Ryan, I'm not going to lie, I was so frustrated watching this game because it's not as if the game was out of reach. Kevin Durant, as great as he is, didn't even play super well yesterday. Bradley, I think, made some really key shots. They just kept getting out of rotation, couldn't grab offensive boards. Like, man, I'm telling you, Ryan, it just felt like the loss last night was just like an embodiment of all the little things that have gone wrong for the Nuggets all year.
Yeah, I was thinking about this last night and just thinking about it this morning. I think this game was one where it was a great explanation, like kind of example of this was a game that they just would have won last year, a game that they just would have won the year before. The Suns were playing good, not great. They were good. I think they made good decisions for the most part. They avoided turnovers, 7 turnovers for Phoenix yesterday. But there were just so many moments, like especially in that third quarter, where the Nuggets could not get out of their own way trying to come back. Like they were doing everything that they can. Like the Suns were allowing them to kind of get back into this game. Yeah. And the Nuggets just would not take it. Aaron Gordon goes down, and obviously that is a storyline through this one. Sore calf, that is not a good sign after missing 10 games with a calf injury already. But there were just so many times where Denver was just stumbling all over themselves trying to run offense, and Nikola Jokic is just looking around like, who can I run an action with right now? What can I even do? Because Jamal was hampered and looked horrible for the most part. Christian Braun, he's just really struggling right now. Michael Porter turned the ball over an exceptional number of times.
5 turnovers yesterday, right?
Yeah, and one of them I think should have been credited to Christian Braun, but it wasn't. And then Peyton Watson, he looks extremely uncomfortable in that moment as well. So you want to see these guys step up and be like, okay, I'm gonna have a big game on Christmas. I'm going to show out. I'm gonna produce, and just everybody refused. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I said this on Twitter last night, and me and the Russ fans are just having a run in the last week and a half. I think Russ was good in the first half, and I think he brought a lot of energy. He was passing well. I think he did important things. But in that third quarter, the Nuggets could not find a guard that would not turn the ball over at the top of the key, or couldn't throw an entry pass. And it even got to Joker to the point where he was getting phased out of the offense. By the time he started getting the ball again, the spacing was so horrible. He didn't even have a shot he could get into. And I'm just sitting here like, what are we doing? And then, Malone, I think Malone, he's obviously trying to like play this game very delicately. Jokic, they're down 7 with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter yesterday, Ryan. And Malone, I think he wanted to give Joker just more rest to be able to obviously stabilize. But then he brings Joker in with 7 minutes left, Ryan, and instead of a 7-point game, it's a 12-point game. And it's like, based on how the Nuggets have played, that's so far out of reach.
Yeah.
And the rebounding, Ryan, like, again, if Joker's not on the boards, Ryan, they simply do not have the team that is just committed to securing defensive rebounds. And yesterday in the fourth quarter, multiple second chance attempts, sometimes 3 attempts at a shot on a possession. Like Monte Morris gets the ball. I think they missed a shot the Suns do. Bradley Beal gets the ball, misses a 3. Monte ends up getting the ball, hits a baseline 2. And I'm just sitting here like, yo, what is going on? And again, the whole game was back and forth yesterday. The Suns started the game off 6 of 7 from 3, Ryan. Rest of the game, if I got my math correct, they were 5 of 29 from the 3-point line the rest of the game after the first quarter. The Nuggets were 8 of 29 on the entire day. And they opened 3-pointers. Like they weren't like contested. Peyton open, Russell open, and then Murray. And then we're going to get to Murray here in a little bit, but right now, Brown's not playing with any confidence. He missed 2 layups yesterday. Yeah. Russ was missing layups. And again, the flow wasn't there. And again, I know fans are like, they're 16-12. They're right on pace with their win profiles the last 2 years. But Ryan, the team just functionally feels like they are just not simply enjoying being out there together right now, as opposed to even last year.
How could they enjoy it? They know that they're bad. They know that they're not playing really well and that they need Jokic to go for 30, 18, and 15. Like that's just where it is at this point. And look, when Aaron Gordon goes down, then everything kind of gets out of whack. You would expect guys to be able to step up in that moment. I would have expected Michael Porter to be able to step up a little bit better. He was like, he had 22 points.
He was okay yesterday. Yeah.
Shooting. He was fine. He just kept turning the ball over when he had an opportunity to drive. But really, look, this does come down to the guard play, and we should probably get into that in the next segment. But overall, I'm not surprised, of course, by this loss because, one, the Nuggets are not back. Like nobody, despite the fact that they had won 5 of their last 6, none of the games other than the Suns game previously,
the Hawks game, the Suns game, and the Clippers game, they kind of got multiple. They were up 20 in all 3 of those games at one point.
Yeah, but I just you watch them and you watch like part of it is that Murray wasn't super involved in 2 of those 3 games, but the other is that like so much of it comes down to they're not really forcing the opposing team to do bad things. It's just those teams are not handling their own business and not putting enough pressure on the Nuggets. And the Nuggets are benefiting from that because like they're a good team, but they're not a great team. Okay, what does Robert say? Yesterday, Brown ran at Nurkic, left Beal wide open for 3, ran at a center that couldn't shoot, left Poole wide open. Yeah, and Christian Brown has not played well enough on the defensive end, let alone the offensive end over the course of these last 10 games or so. And the consistency that he had at the beginning of the season is not there anymore. Guys are allowed to have bad stretches. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and say that. Like the thing is that if the Nuggets need Christian Brown to be good for 82 games, then they're already screwed. Like that's the thing. They need to have a higher baseline than that to be able to survive when a third-year player is not playing up to snuff. Like I'm not surprised that he's going through ups and downs. But this is where you need Julian Strawther to be able to step up, Peyton Watson be able to step up, Russell Westbrook to be able to step up. Russ has been doing his thing. Like he's been doing great. Julian Strawther had 5 points yesterday. Peyton Watson had 2, and like the 3s that he was missing were not good. So I tend to think that the Nuggets are short on talent and short on answers when the first and second options are not playing as well as they need to. And that's always been the story. They don't have enough talent.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about this more. I just think there's so many underlying things to that because I can look at teams across the league that they don't have the talent the Nuggets do, and they play hard every single possession, every single game, and that affects the outcome of regular season games. But we'll talk about that on the other side because the talent question, I think, is a really good one, Ryan Blackburn. So we'll talk about the other side here at Locked On Nuggets. As everybody knows, I am Mr. Concert, Mr. Venue, Mr. Out and About Man, Mr. Man About Town. As you can tell, you know, just love getting dressed up and going out. And as somebody who always wants to try to find the best deals possible, I'm telling y'all, Game Time is the absolute place to be. If you want all-in pricing, you can toggle a feature to show the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. You can get a panoramic view from your seat on your app before you buy it. And y'all, one of the great things is too, Kendrick Lamar and SZA, they're about to do a tour together. Hey, they're coming to your city, Denver, Atlanta, Phoenix. That is the place to tap in. You can use Game Time to find the best prices possible, lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets for Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDON NBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it, Ryan Blackburn?
It's game time?
Yes, sir. Y'all, also, did Rocket Money help you to find any subscriptions that you forgot about or that you were paying for twice? Man, I'm telling you what, they helped me. I started Rocket Money, y'all, probably 3 years ago. And Ryan, I had subscriptions to the Washington Post, to the New York Times, to the Denver Post. And I had not realized that once you get past that first year for some of these things, the number would jump up from $20 a month to like $40, depending on what kind of package you were in. And because of Rocket Money, I was able to save so much money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you to find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place. Whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year, Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved over $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Look, so I'm telling y'all, cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. We'll be right back for more here at Locked On Nuggets.
Got a good little advertisement in the comments here.
Y'all, we are back here with Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Swipa with Ryan Blackburn. This is your team every day. Y'all, make sure that if you're listening to us on the Apple iTunes side, give us a 5-star review. That way more and more people can get involved with all the stuff we're doing here at Locked On Nuggets. And also, make sure Rocket Money is where you need to be. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you give us a like, share, and subscribe. Y'all, we're on the way to 10,000 subscribers. We are trying to get there. We're going up and up. We just crossed 8,000 not too long ago. And Ryan, can you find the number for the subscribers that we have right now in total?
Right now, I'm pretty sure it was 8,300 and something.
370. We have 8,370, and that all happened in the last week and a half.
So been crazy,
y'all. A lot of growth. Yeah,
Yeah.
Shout out to the community for making this what it is. But y'all, let's get right back into the NBA content that y'all are here for. Ryan, let's get straight to it. The team is just simply the guard play is not good enough, and I don't want to. I don't want to. You can't always boil down to one thing, but the guard play for the team isn't good enough. It's just quite simple.
So you made the comparison. Life is like a box of chocolates with this team. You just never know what you're going to get. I'm a Harry Potter fan, as everybody can tell. A big Harry Potter fan over here. This is Birdie Bots
for sure.
Birdie Bots every flavored beans. Like sometimes you've got two different beans that they're the same color, same thing, look like the same exact stuff, and that's Jamal Murray on most nights. One night you're gonna get hey, this could be an all-star Jamal Murray. Another night you're gonna get can't really drive by Yusuf Nurkic Jamal Murray, and that was pretty jarring in this last matchup. He was absolutely locked by Josh Okogie for most of that game. And then the unfortunate reality with Jamal is that you're getting the earwax bean from Birdie Bots every flavor of beans a little bit too often. You're certainly getting the gross ones, and it has not been consistent enough. And that's the ultimate thing with this team. They don't have the consistency. With Christian Brown, I mentioned at the beginning, he has, like, you started out consistent, but that consistency has really dropped off. Russell Westbrook has been way more he's probably been the most consistent guard on the roster, I would have to imagine. Like, it's not going to be super like upper tier, high level, all-star level, but it has been pretty good. And especially for what he's been expected to do. Julian Strawther, he has been consistent, but just in the wrong ways. You're not going to get a lot of defense from him. You're going to get some good shot making, but it has been not good enough, if you know what I mean.
By the way, don't tell Santa Cruz. This is just simply not true. Elite perimeter defenders. What do you think Minnesota has with Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Anthony Edwards? Also, the Lakers had the best defense in the playoffs by far when they ran into the Nuggets, and they couldn't stop a nosebleed. So that's the thing. I want to give Murray his credit for what he's done, Ryan.
Yeah.
But also, if I told you right now, if we say you and I weren't covering the Nuggets, say we were just general NBA covers, right?
Yeah.
If I told you that a player had their last year of their deal this year, and if I told you that you're going to be facing someone who's making 4 years, $208 million, right? That's their contract extension. And they played for, let's say, the Milwaukee Bucks or the Charlotte Hornets. And they were averaging, on a max contract, 18.8, 4.2, 6.1 on 43% from the field and 35% from three and 82% from the line as a lead ball handler. What would you say?
I would say if I'm trying to trade for that person for my team, I would be pretty scared. I would be pretty scared to add that player to my roster. And that's the problem. That's the problem that Denver has. That guy is not really good enough to be a good third option for a team, let alone a second option for a team. And that's unfortunate because the Nuggets have paid him and they've invested in him fully. They have trusted him, put a lot of emphasis in him being the best version of himself that he can be. And he has straight up just not been that. Now, part of that is like the injuries have been mounting with him. Stuff that he can control, and there's stuff that he can't control. So I don't want to put all of the blame on him just overwhelmingly. And yet, it's just how the cookie crumbles, man. Sometimes you just have to play like a better basketball player, play like the player that you're expected to be. And straight up, Jamal has never been the consistent player that the Nuggets have needed from him. Like, he should have been an all-star by now. That is what should have happened. And the fact that he has not been has really potentially put this Nuggets championship run on ice almost permanently.
Here's the thing. Denver is a different kind of media market, everyone. And I think y'all know this. Denver is a place that's very player friendly relative to the Laker market, the Boston market, the New York market, even the Dallas market, Houston. We're very player friendly for the most part.
Yeah.
If this was any other city that had a major all-time great player on it and the guard play was this bad, I mean, the conversations would be way different, just because I think there's just more of a performance-related focus. I think the media has had a very personalized human touch with understanding how injuries and things like that affects your play. But I do think, though, at the end of the day, Ryan, we all have a job to do. And I would give Jamal Murray so far this year, I would give him a D-.
Oh, he gets an F, man.
But I'm saying D- in that, he's had some moments. But again, moments just simply aren't enough. If you want to give him F, I also agree with that. That's fine. My larger point is, if the Nuggets had, any other guard of this contract level that was, like De'Aaron Fox, or they would just be a much better team. The record would reflect that as well. And the on-court performance would reflect that. And I think that's the other side of this too. Russell Westbrook is doing things for $3 million that you're probably not getting across the league. But also, I think he's having to take even more responsibility because Murray hasn't done his job consistently. And I just think everybody is scaling up, but then no one else on the roster. Let me ask you this, Ryan. Can I put this on Twitter? This is probably the biggest issue for me.
Okay.
Why the Nuggets, I think, need to make a change. They have one player on the roster, I think, Ryan, that can dribble, pass, shoot, spot up, create, and can get to the rim and like do anything with the ball. They have one player that can do that, and that's Murray. And Murray is not doing that. And so when you have built your roster to be like this, where your other ball handlers, they can't do some of those other things, and you're just kind of limited in terms of your creation ability, and everything comes down to Jamal, and Jamal cannot do it, the team is functionally worse than it should
be. The unfortunate factor here is that I know that a whole bunch of Russell Westbrook fans want him to start. He's not going to start over Murray. He might start over Christian. Like, that might be something that they end up trying at some point if things don't go well, and they're not going well. But I do like it. The benching of Murray is just a non-starter, so I'm just not going to acknowledge it from those folks. That's just not how the NBA works. Sorry. Especially for a guy like Murray, who's been in Denver for 9 years. Like, it's been a long time. I think that you're absolutely right. The way that they have built their roster, the way that they've assembled it, it puts a ton of pressure on each of the high money guys. Jokic, obviously. Gordon, he just got the extension, and now he's been hurt. This has not been the year that I think many were hoping for him overall, because he was playing really well initially, but just not being able to be out there on the floor. It's some of the problems that you saw from Murray last year, especially. Murray's obviously this year been like just horrible. And Michael Porter, it's been mostly solid, but obviously the pressure has put on him from a trade perspective because of all the trade rumors that have come out. So I think that everybody is just like, there's just nobody else to really account for that, because that's just how the NBA works. You put all the pressure on the guys that are making all the money. And usually in situations like this, when you don't have a guard that can really get downhill with Murray, Christian Brown, or the starting shooting guard, would be the next guy in line to try to do that. And he's just not ready to do that. That's just not, and he may never be ready to do that. That may never be his thing. So I'm not sure where they go from here. I don't know what the answer is.
On the other side, I'm going to ask a very key and critical question, and Ryan will answer, and then I'll provide my answer as well. And I think this is going to be very telling. But we'll talk about all that and more here at Locked On Nuggets. Y'all, with Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn a very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of the high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rates may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. We'll be right back for more here at Locked On Nuggets. Y'all, we are back here for the final segment here of Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Swipa, with Ryan Blackburn. All right, let's get straight to it. I'm going to ask you a very direct question, Ryan, and I want you to answer as honestly as you can.
Okay.
Do you think the Denver Nuggets, including ownership to front office to coaches and players, do you believe that the Denver Nuggets are doing their best to win an NBA championship this season?
Are the Nuggets doing their best to win a championship this season?
Is winning a championship at the forefront of their goals for this year?
Personally, yes. I think that it is. I do think that they are trying to win a championship. Unfortunately, with moves made and agendas crossed and just a whole bunch of things being pulled in a variety of different directions, I think that has made things so convoluted in how they are supposed to go about it that it doesn't look like they are. I do think that each of these elements, each of these people is trying to do the job as well as they can, but they are driving so hard against each other in a lot of different ways that it makes it look like they're not. So I'm going to say yes, but I just don't think that the organization is in line with what it needs to be accomplished and how they are accomplishing that.
Yeah, I think the answer is we tried to do it in a way that was already unconventional with a bunch of young contracts and a bunch of players that didn't make sense in other places. Dario Saric and others. Zeke extending him without, I think, needing to. I think you and I, when that both came across the wire, we were both like, okay, yeah, that's interesting. Obviously hoping for development. You and I were both, I know I was very concerned about 5 rookie contracts on the roster while this team was kind of at this point. So for me, I just don't feel that. I think that there's been so much, and again, these are confirmed things that have come out with Ramona Shelburne in the summer with the article came out. There's been so much disagreement with, I think, the overall outlook of the team, the youth movement to veteran movement to the 3-point discussion to do they have enough shooting? Do they need more shooting? To do we keep KCP? Is KCP valuable for this team? Can we not just have internal growth from Christian Brown and Julian Strother? That should be enough. Well, we need more options, but we have options. They're rookies and they're young. To Jokic is like, I need Russell Westbrook. And then they get Russell Westbrook. And then there's so many different pieces to this. And Ryan, at this point in time, I'm just kind of like, I feel Jokic getting more frustrated as the season goes on. I feel it. And I think that it started off where it was unfair. And I said it was unfair what they're asking Joker to do on a 99 basis just to be able to win games by single digits. But at this point, it feels as if the organization is at almost, it's not at a reset point, but the vibes are low. The team is underperforming, even for what they should be doing. They're disconnected defensively. Offensively, there's just spurts like even yesterday where they're just not putting it together. I think that the roster, in terms of the talent on the roster, doesn't make all that much sense. Dario Saric got the biggest contract extension from any non-Nugget, and he's, again, a DNP yesterday, Ryan. And I think that matters. Like, I think it matters that you're not replacing talent like you're not replacing what you lost with anything.
Right.
You lose KCP, you don't replace him. It's just like it's gone. Like, and then you lose Jeff Green and Bruce, and you don't really replace them with other players other than what you drafted. And now when you do have some money to use, because remember, they avoided the second apron to use the taxpayer MLE. And they use it on a player that you and I both were like, interesting, but maybe with the Russell Westbrook thing, maybe that's division. Maybe it's a 2-man game that works out. But he's been an abject F, just objectively an F for what he's supposed to do with this team. So it's like the money that you do have to use flexibility outside of your max contracts are Zeke, Najee, and Dario, and they're both not doing anything. So I think, Ryan, the reason why we're feeling such a dearth in talent is because now you have the young guys, but you have the 4 veterans, Ryan, but you also had 2 contracts you paid out to players that are supposed to be veterans to give you additional assistance, and they're not giving you any assistance. Like, Ryan, did that make sense? Like, yeah, I think we're missing 2 players, and those 2 players are money they've spent around players that aren't doing anything for the team. So I think all of that is tied into why the dysfunction is there.
They've bled talent. That's what you're talking about. The talent that was there with the 2023 championship team is no longer there or as concentrated there as it was. So I'm getting a lot of hate in the comments as I'm seeing it here for being a Malone and Booth shill. Interesting wording there. I think the team is on the borderline of really changing some things majorly. And that could be anybody but Joker. That's the phrasing that's going to go into the offseason this year if things continue to go along this path. Anybody but Joker. And that includes Michael Malone. That includes Calvin Booth. That includes Jamal Murray. That includes Michael Porter. It probably doesn't include Aaron Gordon. It's hard for me to really blame Aaron in this situation. He's been a perfect fit for what they've wanted, and he's a great person to have around at the organization. He has bought into what they're doing, and he is just as frustrated, although certainly a little hurt. And I think that everything else is just on the table at this point, because to kind of circle back around to the question, can they actually win a championship right now? No, they can't. They don't have enough talent to do it. And the only way that they get back that talent is for the young players that Calvin Booth drafted, added to the team. If they immediately played well and consistently, and that's just not going to happen. I think that the only other way that you have it happen is if Jamal Murray goes back to playing like an all-star. And I'm just at the point of saying that's not going to happen. It may never ever happen in his entire career. And that has to be really frustrating to people. So if anybody thinks that I'm out here shilling for the organization, I'm really trying to just see it from all sides and see it from their sides and be willing to understand the vision that they are trying to put out there and evaluate it as flexibly as I possibly can without the pressure of the fans too. But I also just get it. I get it from all sides here.
Yeah. Can we stop betting on young players to develop to help Jokic win the next title, please? Again, I think that
absolutely.
That was the complaint. I think from some media members in the summer. It's just like, and again, as someone who is doing the math, I said this all off season. I don't believe in that vision because I just have not historically seen that work, right?
Yeah.
As simple as that. And Hurricane T-Bag.
It's so funny.
Ryan, I just think at this point, if I'm Jokic, I'm just like, how did I get here? Like, I carried you to a title. I've won 3 MVPs here. I started the year off.
You know how it happened? I know how it happened. Like, they didn't ask him about these plans. He tried to stay out of it. He tried to get out of the way and allow other people to do their jobs. They haven't done their jobs to the best of their ability. And that has spiraled over the course of several years. And it's why you saw guys like LeBron, and people give LeBron a lot of crap for doing that, for taking the organization into his own fist and saying, you're going to do what I say or it's the highway. And yet you watch what's happening here with the Nuggets, and you understand why LeBron tried to hold on to as much power there as possible, tried to dictate that everybody was maximizing as many resources as they possibly could.
And I'm holding the franchise hostage with 2-for-1s, basically, or 1-for-1s.
Yeah. And so I get it. Now, to some degree, we want to give credit to Joker for allowing the organization to breathe, for allowing them to be have their own flexibility. And I remember kind of criticizing the LeBron model of sucking out the assets of the entire organization and then departing when that team had no more assets. Right now, we're at the stage with the Nuggets where they have no more assets, where they have nothing left to provide for Joker.
And it wasn't like that's for reasons either. They did this they swapped picks during the finals, and that ended up doing nothing. They traded for the picks to get Hunter Tyson and them. That didn't do anything. And then they traded for Strother at 29, TB at 21, and then 30 for Peyton Watson, which I understood vision. I got it. But the same thing that I told Matt, I think during draft season, I was just like, but again, if you're going to go young model, Ryan, then why would you not just do what you should do then? Go young, trade up, get an elite perennial, this is a blue chip prospect like a J-Dub or a Derek Lively. And then for that, I would trade 3 first-round picks to move from 26 to 10 or whatever, and whatever you have, and then or 26 to 12. And then you go from there. Like, if this team had Derek Lively, way different. If this team had J-Dub or someone of that ilk, then I would understand it. But the Nuggets the vision with Booth was young and back of the draft. And I'm just sitting here like, why would you play Russian roulette? In your you're not even, it's like the results just like are just you're playing with minimal opportunity to you.
Let's see if we could get a hit. Let's see if we could get a hit with one of these guys. And oh crap, it's how I try to do parlays on FanDuel. It's like,
there you go.
Let me see if I could get that 1,000 to 1 odds, and we'll see if I can or plus 1,000 odds, and see if I can really turn $1 into as much as I can. But that's kind of how it is with Calvin.
Let me ask you a direct question, Ryan. Do you think we're given where things are? Do you think Joker makes a demand of them in the next month? If they continue to rock like back and forth like this, like let's say they're 24-17, something around those lines.
Yeah, it'll just depend on if everybody's pulling the same direction at that point, but I just don't think that they will be. So I'm going to go out and on a limb and say that Joker says, hey, we have to change something. Please change something. And that will ultimately affect things in a pretty negative light. Because I think if it were up to the organization, I think that they would want to wait until the summer and have more flexibility to be able to do that. They may not have that much time, which is why they were canvassing the league in the first place. They know that they have pressure. They know that there's something that they're facing. So if Joker ultimately says that they got to do some stuff, then you might see a Zach LaVine trade, or you might see a like the equivalent of that, I guess. So will they get Jimmy Butler? Probably not. Will they get Zach LaVine? Probably not. But I think the Nuggets will be looking, because I think the Joker will apply some pressure.
Well, even watching the game yesterday, this is why the X's and O's stuff matters. Their defense wasn't really the issue yesterday. They didn't have any creators. None.
No.
Like none. Like again, Russ is old and he can't shoot. He shouldn't be doing that on a daily basis.
But that's the Jamal Murray problem, though. Like
Jamal's 27 years old.
I know, it's insane. Like how can he be at this stage where it's just so inconsistent and it's intolerable at this point that like you cannot just like, you got to help yourself in this moment. And he was just giving up the ball and just like getting out of the way and just not impacting the game in any discernible way, other than the one time when I actually am going to ISO, I'm going to take it when I'm isolated against Yusuf Nurkic and Nikola Jokic has Bradley Beal on his back, and I'm just not going to fire him the ball. I'm going to drive and turn it over.
Well, even Porter yesterday, Porter also got caught with the ball and couldn't do anything with it. And I think that's what I'm saying. Like, I think if you just watch the team, y'all, like I want Nuggets fans, as much as first off, I was higher on Porter than anybody else coming into the draft because the dude was the number 1 overall pick. I watched him when he was in high school. I was like, there's no way the Nuggets just got this man in his white drip suit. And he walked into Denver, his first real game versus the Indiana Pacers in 1920. Ryan gave him 25 points, hit him with a step back left wing shot. And I was like, I know that dude. I saw him. So I know who Porter is. I've always liked Porter. But again, based on the way the team has constructed the roster, Ryan, go watch the Celtics. Go watch Cleveland. They got 3 or 4 players at all times that can dribble, shoot, pass, penetrate. You know how difficult it is in the league to have one person that can do it, and he can't even do it right now, and you got to win in this NBA?
It's impossible. And the fact that they've gotten themselves into this position, you remember when Tim Connolly loved having Monte Morris and Will Barton and Facu Campazzo and Jamal Murray and having all those options.
Marcus Howard.
Maybe the wrong mix of
types.
guys,
yeah.
But the understanding was there that you need to have optionality. You need to have different guys that can absolutely make it happen. So look, it is all on Murray right now. All of it. That's what happens when you pay somebody $50 million a year. It's on him to get this right, because if he doesn't get it right, the entire team is going to combust. It just will.
Well, that's going to do it here for Locked On Nuggets, you all. What a great positive episode, but this is a truthful episode. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think the Denver Nuggets are doing enough to win an NBA championship this year? What needs to happen for that to be able to happen? Or do you think they should just hold it off until the summer? That's Ryan. I'm Swipa. See you on the other side.